They were aware, watching, waiting. And the worst part, some people said the shadows in that tunnel don't just exist, they notice you. You're walking down a hallway that hasn't heard footsteps in decades. Not the kind of silence that relaxes you, but the kind that makes your chest feel tight. Every step echoes longer than it should, like the building is listening. The walls are cracked, peeling like old skin. The air smells stale, heavy, like it hasn't moved in years. And then you see it. At the very end of the corridor, a door number 23. It's slightly open, and from beneath it, a faint red light leaks out onto the floor. You don't know why, but something about that light feels wrong. Not dangerous. Not yet. Just wrong. You weren't supposed to come here looking for ghosts. You came here for the truth. But here's the thing about places like this. The deeper you go, the less difference there is between truth and something else. And in Waverly Hills Sanatorium, the truth doesn't stay on the surface. It goes down. Hidden beneath this massive decaying hospital is something most people never see. A tunnel, 500 feet long, cold concrete walls, a steep descent, no natural light. This is what they call the body chute, a place designed for one purpose only, to move the dead. Not for respect, not for ceremony, but for silence. Bodies were placed onto carts at the top and sent down into the darkness, so the living patients wouldn't see what was happening around them. No funerals, no goodbyes, just a quiet descent into blackness. And the most unsettling part, it worked perfectly, too perfectly. Because when something is hidden long enough, it doesn't disappear, it stays. Back in the early 1900s, tuberculosis wasn't just a disease, it was a death sentence. There was no cure, so Waverly Hills was built in 1910 to isolate the infected. People came here hoping to survive, but many never left. At first, bodies were taken out through the front, but patients could see everything. The coffins, the movement, the truth, and hope started to disappear. So the hospital made a decision. They would hide death completely. That's when the chute was built, a system so efficient that death could pass through the building without anyone noticing. Imagine this, a body is placed onto a metal cart. No ceremony, no delay, just routine. The cart locks into place and begins to move, down, into darkness. No windows, no voices, just metal, scraping against concrete, 500 feet, until everything disappears. You've probably heard the number, 50,000 deaths. But historians say that number doesn't add up. The real estimate, closer to 10,000, still an entire town, gone inside one building. Now imagine being one of them. You're sick, alone, cut off from your family, watching people around you slowly fade away. And then one day, it's your turn. You're placed onto a cart and sent into that tunnel, in complete darkness. No last words. No goodbye, just silence. Now imagine that happening again and again and again for years. Some believe places like this absorb it. Pain, fear, isolation, like a sponge. And the body chute, it's not just a tunnel, it's a line of everything people felt in their final moments. Years later, people started exploring it, and many reported the same thing. Not voices, not footsteps, shadows, tall, dark figures, standing where no one should be, moving when nothing else was. Some felt watched, others said something passed them, without making a sound, and a few claimed something even worse, that the shadows weren't just there, they were aware, watching, waiting. But what if it's not supernatural? What if it's something else? Imagine being a worker here in the 1930s, alone, fixing the chute, walking 500 feet into darkness, knowing exactly what this place is used for. You smell it, you feel it, the silence pressing against your ears. Your mind starts filling the gaps, and suddenly, you're not alone anymore. Not because something is there, but because your brain refuses to believe that nothing is. Maybe that's the real horror. This place doesn't need ghosts, because what happened here is already terrifying enough. A hospital meant to heal, with a hidden system built for death, quiet, efficient, endless, and even today, that tunnel still exists, still stretches into darkness, still silent, still waiting, not for bodies anymore, but for something else. Maybe curiosity, maybe fear, or maybe you. Because once you enter that chute, it feels like it only goes one way, down. So tell me, do you think this place is haunted? Or is it something even worse? The hospital feels wrong the moment they step inside. Not empty, not abandoned, just wrong. The air is too still, like it hasn't been touched in years. Even the fluorescent lights hum in a way that doesn't sound electrical. It sounds alive. A low, vibrating drone that crawls into the ears and stays there. Elias walks slightly ahead, his shoes tapping against the polished floor, each step echoing longer than it should. Mara follows close, her arms folded tightly, as if she's trying to hold herself together. The nurse said it was at the end of the hall, she whispers. Section 4. Elias glances around. Every corridor looks identical. Pale green walls, identical doors, identical lights, flickering in the same dying rhythm. Everything in this place looks like the end of the hall, he mutters. They keep walking. A stretcher sits abandoned against the wall. One wheel spins slightly, even though there's no wind. Mara notices it. Did you see that? Elias doesn't stop. It's a hospital. Things move. But his voice lacks conviction. They pass a nurse's station. Empty chairs. A computer screen still on. The monitor shows a patient file, but the name field glitches, flickering between letters too fast to read. Mara slows down. Elias. What? That screen. But when he looks, it's blank. They keep moving. The hallway narrows. The lights flicker harder now. Each blinks slightly longer than the last, like the building is struggling to stay awake. Then they reach it. A heavy, double-paned door. Operating Theater 4. Authorized personnel only. The temperature drops instantly. Mara exhales, and for a second, she can see her breath. Maybe we should wait, she says quietly. At the lounge, the doctor will come. Elias shakes his head. We've already wasted enough time. He steps forward and pushes the door. It opens too easily. No resistance, no sound, just a smooth, unnatural glide, like it's welcoming them in. Inside, the darkness is thicker, not just absence of light, but something heavier. The surgical lamp hangs above the table like a dead moon, casting a weak circle of pale light. Everything outside that circle disappears into shadow. The operating table sits in the center, covered, still, waiting. Elias steps in first. Hello, Dr. Harris. No answer, but something responds. A sound, wet, slow, dragging, like something being pulled across tile, just out of sight. Mara grabs his arm. Elias, let's go, please. He doesn't answer. He's staring at the wall. Come here, he says quietly. Mara hesitates, then steps closer, and freezes. Scratched into the tile are two names. Elias. Mara. Not written. Carved. Deep enough that the edges of the tile are chipped and uneven, like whoever did it didn't care about breaking their own hands. "That's not funny," Mara whispers. "That's not funny." Elias runs his fingers over the letters. They're cold, too cold. "These are old," he says. "This wasn't done today." The intercom crackles. Both of them jump. Static fills the room, thick, suffocating. Then a voice. "Mara." She stiffens instantly. Her fingers tighten around Elias's sleeve. "Who is that?" Elias looks at the speaker on the wall. "Who's there? We can hear you." The voice comes again. "Elias." But this time, it's not coming from the speaker. It's coming from everywhere. From the walls, from the floor, from inside their heads. Mara shakes her head. "That sounded like me. Elias. That sounded like my voice." He forces a laugh. "It's just acoustics. Echo distortion." But even as he says it, it's not an echo, Elias. His voice, perfect, exact, but wrong. Like it's being spoken by something that learned how to sound human, without understanding what a human is. Elias lunges for the door. "We're leaving, now." He grabs the handle. There isn't one. The door is gone. Not locked, not hidden. Gone. Replaced by a seamless wall of steel. Mara screams. "Where is it? It was right there." Elias slams his fists against the metal. "Help! Is anyone out there?" Nothing answers, except the clock. 3:14 a.m. It flickers, then changes. 3:15 a.m. A low mechanical hum fills the room. The surgical light above them begins to move, descending, slowly, silently. Mara backs away. The wall. Elias. Look at the wall. The carved names are bleeding. A thick, dark fluid seeps from the letters, dripping down the tiles. Drip, drip, drip. Elias stumbles back. It's a hallucination. Gas leak, something in the air. Then why can I feel it? Mara lifts her hand. A drop lands on her skin. It's warm. She gasps. The operating table shifts. The sheet rises. There's something underneath now. A shape. Too long, too thin, not human. It sits up slowly. The sheet slides just enough to reveal nothing. No face. No features. Just smooth, white surface. Like tile. The voice speaks again. "You've been here before." Elias grabs a surgical tray, holding it like a weapon. "Stay back." The figure tilts its head. "You remember the impact, don't you?" The lights flicker violently. For a split second, the room changes. The operating theater is gone. They're somewhere else. Glass, shattered, metal twisted around them, blood everywhere. Mara gasps. "No, no, no." Then the room snaps back. The figure is closer now. "You didn't walk in here." The walls begin to move, closing in, slow, unstoppable. "You were brought in." Mara looks at her hands. They're fading, becoming transparent. "I can't feel my legs." Elias grabs her shoulders. "Look at me. Stay with me." The voice continues. 3:14 a.m. The clock flickers again. 3:16 a.m. The time of death. The figure pulls the sheet away completely. Its face is a flat surface, and carved into it, Elias. "Mara." Mara screams. "We're on that table. We're still there." The walls close tighter. The blood reaches their ankles. Cold, thick, real. Elias pounds the wall. "Wake up, wake up." The intercom emits a long, continuous tone. Flatline. The light above them flickers once and goes out. Darkness swallows everything. Silence. Then, footsteps. A hallway. Dr. Aris walks slowly, rubbing his eyes. A nurse stands beside him. "Did you call it, doctor?" He nods. 3:16 a.m. Both of them. Severe head trauma. They never regained consciousness. They stop outside operating theater 4. The door is closed. Still. Quiet. Dr. Aris looks through the small glass window. The room is empty. Nothing inside. just darkness. He sighs and turns away. As they walk off, inside the room, something scratches, slow, deliberate, invisible hands carving into tile. Elias, Mara, and beneath it, a new word begins to form. Permanent. The scratching doesn't stop, even after the lights go out, even after the hallway empties, even after the hospital falls silent again. Because inside operating theater 4, time doesn't move forward, it resets. Again and again and again. 3:14 a.m. The room is lit only by the blue glow of a laptop screen. Scattered files, coffee stains, and a half-eaten sandwich clutter the desk. Daniel, 30s, tired eyes, stares at an old grainy photograph of Byberry Mental Hospital, a crumbling monolithic structure. He clicks send on an email. Subject, FOIA request, Ward E patient records, 1960 to 1970. He exhales and leans back. The microwave clock flickers. 1:59 a.m., 2 a.m. Suddenly, a harsh vibration. His phone skitters across the desk. No caller ID. Daniel frowns and answers. Hello? Silence. Then a sound. Heavy plastic scraping against concrete. The ink isn't dry on the request, Daniel. Don't let them open the envelopes. Who is this? How do you know my? Byberry doesn't have records. It has graves. If you hear the mail slot drop tomorrow, don't look inside. Click. The line goes dead. Daniel lowers the phone, his hand trembling. Then, a thud from the front door. Daniel freezes. He slowly approaches and peers through the peephole. The hallway is empty, flickering yellow light. He looks down. A thick manila envelope rests on the mat. No return address, only a red wax seal, a stylized eye with a line through it. He picks it up and opens it. Inside, not paper, a denture plate with a metal tag wired to it. Patient 402. He flips the tag, scratched into the metal. His own social security number. Daniel rushes to his laptop, typing frantically. Patient 402. The screen flickers. The cursor moves on its own. It highlights his email, then deletes it, letter by letter. New text appears. We are watching you read this. A sound echoes in the hallway. Step, slide, step, slide. Like something dragging a heavy limb. Daniel grabs a kitchen knife and backs into the corner. The shadow beneath the door darkens. Something liquid begins seeping under the door. Dark, thick, smelling of ozone. You wanted the files, Daniel. The doorknob begins to turn. Slowly. We brought the archives to you. The door starts splintering, not from a kick, but from immense pressure on the other side. I cancel the request. I withdraw it. Too late. The seal is broken. The lights explode. Total darkness. In the silence, the sound of 1,000 papers fluttering fills the room. Then, a wet breath right behind him. Daniel freezes. A voice, now clear, close. Patient 402. Admitted. A sharp metallic click. Silence. Morning light bleeds into the apartment. The door stands wide open. The room is empty. No blood. No struggle. Only papers scattered everywhere. Aged, yellow, brittle. Each one stamped with the same number. A final page rests on the desk. A fresh file. Typed neatly at the top. Patient name, Daniel Carter. Status, archived below it. A photograph, grainy, black and white. A hospital ward, and in the corner of the frame, Daniel, standing still, watching the camera, smiling. If this gave you chills, subscribe, because the next story is worse.